Hello, 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 hello. How are y'all doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Wednesday? How are y'all doing? Listen, before we get into it, let's do a quick tech check. I want to make sure that y'all can see me and hear me okay. If you can see me and hear me okay, just drop a quick yes in the comments because I don't want you to miss any of this good that I got for you today. Today is going to be a good conversation. We are going to be talking about why you need to stop trying to find your passion and start trying to find what's valuable. Okay? And if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you've been rocking with me for a while, welcome back. My name is Nick Scott, and I am the founder of Her Income Edit. We're an online education platform that's designed to help women turn their existing skills into coaching, income, digital products, and online businesses so they can earn more, depend less on traditional employment, and start to design a life on their terms. If you haven't already, I want you to go grab your notebook and your pens or whatever it is you take notes on. Pop open a notes app on your phone or your tablet. Share the link to this video in the group chat. Share it in your Facebook groups. Share it in your Reddit communities. Share it on your LinkedIn profiles and groups and all the things and all the places where you are on the internet. Text the link to this video to a friend who keeps saying that she wants to do something for herself. Go get your water, your tea, your coffee, your juice, whatever it is that you're sipping on, because I want you to stick around for this one. Because what we're talking about today, I wish someone had said this to me 15 years ago. And I mean that literally. So, per usual, I want to start with the question. And per usual, I want you to think about this question for just a beat before you answer it. You can answer it in your notes if you're taking notes. If you feel led and compelled, you can drop your answer in the chat. And the question is, when is the last time someone told you to follow your passion and it felt like advice that could actually pay your bills? Yeah. That's what I thought. Because we have been living inside a story that sounds real inspiring when we heard it in a commencement speech, right? But it hasn't really held up real well in the real world, has it? You know, we've been told to follow your passion, to follow your passion, to turn your passion into a career. It's on coffee mugs, it is on motivational posters, it is in every LinkedIn bio from someone who's trying to sell you something. But here is the thing that nobody told us while we were soaking all of that in. Passion is not a feeling. Passion is not a feeling. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Listen, no, passion is a feeling. I totally, passion is a feeling. Passion is a feeling. And the thing about feelings is that feelings, they come and feelings, they go. Feelings can literally change on any given second of the day, right? They change with the season. Feelings, they're personal, they're private, and they're completely unreliable as a financial strategy, okay? And I know women who are deeply passionate about interior design and haven't made a single dollar from interior design. I know women who are passionate about teaching and they're leaving that profession because that profession can't support their lives. I know women who found their passion and then they found out that the market didn't care about their passion. I think that I have said before on this platform, like, I really, really, really like to craft. Like, I'm a crafter. I also like to cook. I'm a great cook. I'm also a great crafter. Y'all see all my crafting supplies in the background. I have never made $1 from selling a craft. It's not that I can't, is that I haven't. I've never made $1 from selling. I always talk about my gumbo. I've never made $1 from it. And it's not because I can't, right? It's because passion is a feeling, and feelings are not really good financial strategies, y'all. And here's the thing, I know women who have spent years spinning in circles, going round and round and round. They're searching for the right thing that would light them up enough to justify monetizing it. But the whole time, your skills are just sitting there. Your skills are just sitting there quietly, patiently. They're bankable, and they're just waiting. So here is the thing that I really want you to just consider today. I want you to stop asking yourself, what are you passionate about? Stop asking, what am I passionate about? What is my passion? And I want you to start asking, what is it that you know that other people are willing to pay you to learn? Because those are two completely different questions. And only one of those questions are going to lead somewhere. Take it from yours truly. Listen, I have made all the mistakes in this thing, so you don't have to. If you choose to make the mistakes, it's not because nobody told you. You know what I mean? It's not because you didn't know not to make that mistake, because I'm here literally live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Mountain Time to give you all the tea and give you all the hard-won lessons that I have learned so you don't have to do it. I'm giving you the shortcut. The fact that you don't have to go down the passion path, that is a shortcut. And I'm giving it to you for free. Like, that is the questions that I just told you to ask yourself, that will save you so much time and so much money and so much analysis paralysis. Okay? So if you're taking notes, it's really, really imperative that you write these questions down. And I'm going to say them again because it's really important, like I said, because it is going to shorten the distance and the path to get into this. So I don't want you to ask yourself the question, what am I passionate about? So stop asking yourself that question. I want you to start asking yourself, what do I know that other people are willing to pay to learn? Because only one of those questions is going to lead somewhere. And then I'm going to say something else that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Your passion does not owe you any money. It doesn't owe you an income. Your passion doesn't owe you that. But your skills already have a track record. They've been tested. Somebody has already looked at what you know how to do and they said, yes, ma'am, I need that. And here's what I'm willing to pay for it. It happened. It has happened for you. And how do I know? Because it has happened at every job that you've ever had. And the only difference between then and now is that someone else collected in the margin on your skills. They collected the margin on your skills. Listen, your job literally is building their business on your skills. They're building, your employer, whoever owns your company, they are building a business on what you know. And they're compensating you for it. That's not nothing, y'all. A salary is real. It pays your bills. And I am not here to dismiss your salary at all, but I really, truly want you to hear and I want you to consider something else. If your skills and your knowledge and your experience and your expertise is valuable enough for another company to build their revenue stream around your skills, what does that tell you about the value of what it is that you know? If your knowledge is valuable enough for an organization to build a revenue stream around that knowledge, your knowledge, what does that tell you about the value of what you actually know, of what you already know? When I started talking about this thing publicly, when I brought her income edit to the public in a real, tangible, and concrete way, I kept hearing the same thing. It's Nick, I don't have a passion that I can turn into a business. And my response to that is always the same: good, good. Because we're not building a business around your feelings, we're building a business around your skills, period. And mixing up those two, that is exactly why so many smart, capable, high performing women are still waiting to get started in this, because they're waiting to feel some type of calling. They're waiting to feel lit up by something. They're waiting to, to feel the thing that doesn't feel like work. And while these women are waiting, while you are waiting, guess what? Another month goes by where you just have one stream of income. Another month goes by where you have your 9 to 5 that's holding all the keys to your financial safety. Another month is going by, another quarter is going by, another year goes by where you have just one paycheck that is standing between you and every other financial decision you want to make. Listen, and I don't want this for you. I don't want this for you. So let's talk about what is really going on with this, okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Now, I want to say something that I don't believe gets enough airtime in the online business and career space. And that is the single income model. That is not a neutral choice. It's a vulnerability. And for women specifically, this is a vulnerability that the data keeps confirming over and over and over and over and over again. Listen, since 2023, as of the recording of this video, we are in the year of 2026, and we are rapidly headed toward the year 2027. But since the year 2023, more than 500,000 jobs have been eliminated in layoff waves across tech, finance, healthcare administration, education, government, retail. Listen, you name it, okay? You name it. Since 2023, more than 500,000 jobs, and the bulk of those jobs have been in like the last 18 months. DE&I commitments that organizations they publicly made, they are rolling those things back. And they're doing it quietly, y'all. Return to office mandates, they're making careers that were finally manageable for women who have caregiving responsibilities. Return to office mandates are making these careers unmanageable again. Look, when I started working, when I had my baby, my oldest child, it was a long time ago. And I remember it wasn't even called parental leave. It was called maternity leave. And we had 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and we had to go back to work. When I had my second child, 6 weeks, and we had to go back to work. So that is, the culture that I was trained and I grew up in, the employment culture that I was like, you have a baby, it takes 9 months to make it, okay? It takes 9 months, and then you have the baby, and I don't want to get too, physiological in this and too scientific, but the amount of trauma that a woman's body goes through to bring a life into this world, it literally takes 9 months to make it. But you want me to come back to work after 6 weeks. That's what it was, right? So when I started working at the very last place that I worked at, the place that I got laid off from, and, I was working with on a team that were having children. So a lot of the dads and the moms and the families, they were starting their families. So I was on this side of the parental scope, and they're on this completely other side. And when I say I was so impressed with and amazed at the way that these new moms and these moms who have 2 and 3 children at a time were able to balance their careers in a way that was never even an option for me. Like, it wasn't even an option for me to balance my career with my kids the way that they were. And now companies are rolling that back. They are taking that flexibility away from moms. And at this stage of life, for me, it's not about parenting or me as a parent. It's probably me taking care of a parent, right? Maybe you have to take on the responsibility of taking care of your parent. And they want you to come back to work. They are rolling these things back. In fact, I had lunch with one of my former coworkers recently, and they were talking about applying for jobs and how hard it is to find remote work anymore. They are rolling these return to work mandates are real, and it's impacting people's lives. It is making your responsibilities, whether it's caregiving responsibilities or other responsibilities that you have in your life, it's making it unmanageable again. You heard what I said. I had to go back to work at 6 weeks. The other thing about this is that the senior advancement for women, and particularly women of color, that has completely stalled in ways that don't show up in press releases, but absolutely show up in compensation. Like, especially women of color, we are not being promoted the way that we used to be. What happened to Black Girl Magic, y'all? And through all of this, most women still have only one plan. There is no income diversification. They still have just one stream of income. They're still depending upon one employer, and they're still putting all of their financial eggs into the one paycheck basket. And this isn't because you haven't thought about it either, because you have. It's because no one has clearly shown you a path that doesn't require you to blow up your lives first. And here is what the passion conversation completely misses. Because the passion conversation, it puts income diversification in the context of a lifestyle upgrade. It puts it in the context of something that you do when you figured out what you love, and then you're ready to take this leap, right? Like, it literally puts income diversification, and it puts it in this context of a romantic story. What it doesn't put it in the context of, and this is what it should be, and that's a risk management decision, a strategic financial move. This is what income diversification is. It is a risk management decision. It is a strategic financial move. It is something that a smart professional that you make, this is a decision that you make when you're not desperate. But you make it precisely because you're not desperate yet. Because the best time to build your next stream of income is before you need one. And I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to say it just a little bit slowly, because this really is important. The best time for you to build your next or second stream of income is before you need it. It is while your salary is coming in. It is while your mind is not in crisis mode. It is when you have the bandwidth to build something real instead of scrambling to replace income that you already lost. That's the window of opportunity in this. And most women miss it because they're waiting to feel passionate enough or confident enough or certain enough to start in this thing. And here's the other thing. that the passion narrative does that I believe is completely harmful. It creates a permission structure problem. So when you're looking at your passion, you're essentially waiting for something external to give you the green light. So you're waiting for a sign, you're waiting to feel ready, you're waiting for it to feel right before you start right. But building financial safety is not a feeling, y'all. It is a decision, and nobody comes to give you permission to make it but you. You have to make the decision. And the women who are most behind, they're not behind because they lack passion. They're behind because they've been conditioned to wait for alignment before they act. And let's be very clear. Alignment is great. Alignment is great. And I truly do want you to build something that feels meaningful to you. But let's be very, very, very clear. Alignment is not a prerequisite to get into this. It is a result. So when you start monetizing what you know, what you truly know, and you see that it helps someone, you see that your skills, it literally transforms somebody else's life. That's when it starts to click. And that is when it starts to feel aligned. But you don't get there from sitting on the couch and waiting for a feeling. You get there by starting. And I want to give you another way to look at this. I want you to stop looking for what you're passionate about and start asking these 3 questions instead, okay? And I already gave you 2 questions that you should ask yourself, or one to stop asking yourself and then another to start asking yourself. So if you missed those questions, be sure to catch the replay of this on my YouTube channel. But these are the 3 questions that I want you to start asking instead of looking for your passion. The very first question is, what problem do I solve at work that people outside of my company also have? The second question that I want you to start asking yourself is, what do people ask me to help them with because they know I'll get it right? And then the third question that I want you to ask yourself is, what have I done professionally that took me years to learn, but could save someone else significant time, significant stress, or significant money? Okay? Because those 3 questions, they're not passion-based. They're value-based. And value is the only thing that consistently converts into income. Passion tells you what you want to do, but value tells you what people will pay for. And ideally, you want both of these things, right? But you have to choose a starting point. And I encourage you, and if you were my client, I would encourage you to choose value every single time. Because here's the thing. Your passion might be what gets you out of bed, but your skills are what's going to get you paid. So I want you to build your income around your skills, and I want you to let your passion be a bonus, okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I see the love on YouTube. Happy Wednesday. So I want to talk a pattern that I always see, and I'm bringing this up because I think it's one of the biggest reasons that women stay stuck even when they genuinely want to build something. And this is what I call the restart loop, okay? The restart loop, and it goes a little something like this. I was thinking about starting a blog. I was looking into photography. I was considering an Etsy shop. I actually tried drop shipping for a minute. I signed up for a course on social media management. Does any of that sound familiar? Listen, you're not looking and trying and exploring all these things because you're unfocused. It's not because you're not committed either. You're looking and researching and exploring all these things because every single one of those things require you to start from zero, right? So you keep restarting. You keep restarting. We're talking about the restart loop. You don't have any built-in credibility in an Etsy shop or photography or drop shipping, right? Or social media management. You don't have an existing track record in any of those things. I mean, unless you do. But for most people, there's no immediate proof that any of those things would work. So it felt like starting a business because it was starting a business. But it was starting a business in a field that you don't have any depth in. And let me tell you something, when you are starting from scratch, golly, I said this at the beginning and I say it all the time. I literally have made all these mistakes so you don't have to. I have made all the mistakes so you don't have to. I've been doing this thing for a long, long time. So the things that I'm telling you, I'm truly telling you so you can shorten your path, so you can get to the money, so you can start to create your second or next stream of income in the fastest way possible. In the fastest way possible. So your photography business that you wanted to start, and you might be passionate about photography, but nobody knows you as a photographer. And it's going to take you years to develop that brand and that credibility as a photographer. And yes, you are starting a business. And when you start from zero like that, it is hard. And this is the part that nobody ever says. You don't have to start from zero. You don't have to start from scratch because you have been building equity in a specific area of expertise your entire career. And you know what's great about equity? If you own a home, you understand exactly what I'm saying. If you own real estate, you know exactly what I'm getting ready to say. The great thing about equity is that it compounds. Equity is portable. You can take it with you. And the equity that you've been building in that specific area of expertise your entire career, guess what? That equity, a layoff can't take it from you. And when you build a skills-based stream of income, you are not starting over, especially when you package what you already know into something that other people can pay you directly to access. You literally can start with everything you already have. Literally start with everything you already have. You do not need to start over. You just need to reposition what you already know as something that the market will, say it again, pay you directly for. And that is a completely and fundamentally different starting point than a blog or an Etsy shop or a course topic that you picked because it felt like it was fun, right? And here's the thing that I really, really, really want you to think about. The women who are building real income from their skills, they're not succeeding because they found something new. They're succeeding because they stopped underestimating what they already had. And there is a phrase that I say a lot on this platform. And that is, your employer is your very first client. Your employer is the very first investor in your business. Your employer has a contract with you. And everything that you're doing inside of your company, that is a portfolio for you. I'm talking about the problems you've solved, the systems you've built, the people you've developed, the results that you have driven. All of that is a working, tested, and results generating portfolio for you. But the question is, it's not whether or not your skills are valuable, because we know they are. That's already been established. The question is whether or not you're going to be the one who benefits from their value, or are you going to keep letting someone else be? Are you going to keep letting someone else be? Literally, your job has proven that your skills are valuable. Whoever owns your company, they're literally making money off of your skills right now today. And I know some of you are probably thinking, you know what, this sounds great, but I'm not a life coach. And you're right, you're probably not, and neither am I. Because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about coaching as a business model, right? And coaching as a business model, it is not limited to life coaching. Coaching is just a structure, it is a container. And so what you coach on it is completely determined by what you know, right? So you can be a career coach that helps people navigate job transitions. You can be an executive coach that helps leaders develop their teams. You can be a financial coach that helps people build sustainable money habits. You can be a health coach who helps clients change behaviors that affect their complete well-being. You can be a business coach like me, and you can help other women like you launch and grow multiple streams of income. Listen, the business model of coaching, it works across every single domain because it's built on one simple exchange. You have skills that someone else needs, and they're willing to pay a premium for your time and your skills and your experience and your expertise to help them solve a specific problem faster than they could on their own. That is what coaching is, right? And again, I said I made all the mistakes and I'm sharing all the mistakes, and that's where a lot of these conversations come from. They are literally born out of the mistakes that I have made. Like, we're not talking about chasing your passion because I'm passing judgment on you. I've chased my passion before many a times. You know, you don't have to start from scratch in this. I want to give you the shortcut so that you can start to diversify your income in the fastest way possible. Like, this doesn't have to take years. This can take weeks. Literally, it can take weeks. Now, I want to talk about, hello, thanks for joining. I want to talk about why this business model, it makes sense for women who want to build their next stream of income. Okay? I already said that you don't have to start over. That's a huge thing, and this doesn't take years. So first of all, it is a low startup cost. You do not need an office. You don't need a storefront. You don't need inventory. You don't need a massive social media follower. You don't need to spend hours, painting, commissioning a commission painting. Like, you don't have to do all that. You need a defined offer. You need a way to talk about it, and you need a way to get paid. That is it. And that right there is a much shorter list than most people expect it to be. Secondly, why this business model of coaching is the one that I constantly point women to is because your credibility in this is already built. So when someone hires a coach, they're hiring based on what that coach's track record is, and they're hiring based on demonstrated skills and knowledges, skills and knowledge. And you probably have 15 years of that. Like, you're not trying to convince someone that you might know what you're doing, because they already know that you know what you're doing. You have evidence. So then the third reason why I love coaching is because your income is proportional to your positioning, not your hours. So we're not trading hours for dollars. We're not doing that. We're not trading time for money here. And this is the piece that changes everything, right? So if you are painting a commissioned painting, right? And it takes you, I don't know, I'm not a painter, but y'all have heard me talk about how I wanted to start a custom sneaker business and blinging shoes specifically for brides. But when I calculated the time it takes me to bling out a pair of shoes, and the material cost, the number just didn't make sense. I see people out here selling custom wedding sneakers for $200. There's no way that I would have been selling a pair of custom wedding sneakers for $200 ever, because the time that it takes me to do that, it just didn't make sense. The math just didn't math for me. Whereas in coaching, the math, it always maths, because my income is proportional to my positioning, not my hours. And again, that piece right there, that's what changes everything in this. Because a coaching offer, it doesn't require you to trade every single of your hours for dollars at a rate that someone else sets. Because when you own the offer, when you own your product, you get to set the price. You get to define the scope. You get to decide who you work with and who you don't. And you get to decide on what terms you work with these people on. And that is a completely different financial relationship with your own skills than a salary will ever give you. And the fourth reason that I love coaching as a business model, and this one matters a lot, y'all. The fourth reason is coaching is not a leap. It's not a leap of hope. It is not a leap of faith. Coaching is a lane. So you don't have to quit your job to start coaching. In fact, I teach my clients to build their coaching businesses while your job pays your bills, while your job is the first investor in your business. When your coaching income reaches a level that gives you options, then you get to decide what's next. Because if you do this right, you're going to have real, meaningful, and sustainable options in this. And when that happens, you get to decide from a position of strength and not desperation because you got laid off or because you're suddenly in some type of life crisis or medical situation. And that right there is what we build toward at Her Income Edit. And I want to be very honest about what it takes, because I'm not going to sit right here in this chair and pretend that this just happens because you wave a magic wand or you acquire some magic jumping beans from wherever. I'm not going to act like this is effortless. I'm not going to sit here and act like this doesn't take work, because building a coaching business, it requires positioning work. It requires learning how to package your skills into an offer. It requires understanding of who your client is. It requires an understanding of what problem you're solving for that person. And it requires an understanding of how to communicate your value very clearly and articulately. It requires a framework. This requires a process. This requires a structure that creates consistent, repeatable results for the people that you're working with. And that's what makes a coaching business sustainable. It's not charisma. It's not a big social media following. It is not about going viral. What makes this sustainable is a clear process that works. And that's learnable. And I really want you to hear me when I say that. Because the part that feels so hard about coaching, it's not coaching. Like, coaching in and of itself, it's not hard. The part that feels hard is the business infrastructure behind it. And that right there is exactly what can be learned. It can be built and it can be systemized. And it's done so in a way so that you're not starting from scratch every single time. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. So if you have been listening to this whole conversation, we started talking about passion, right? And I told you that passion is a feeling. Actually, I misspoke and I said passion is not a feeling, but then I corrected myself and I said passion is a feeling. It is not a strategy, right? We also talked about the real conditions that are driving urgency for professional women right now. And I talked about this because, let's be clear. That's not a scare tactic. I truly believe that if we're going to be having these conversations, we need to be honest about what it is. And I believe that you deserve an honest picture of what the landscape is out here. We talked about the restart loop. Remember the Etsy shop, the blog, the photography business. We keep starting, we're restarting all these things. And we talked about why women are who are incredibly capable, why they keep starting from zero when they don't have to. And we also talked about coaching as a business model. Not a conceptual idea, but we talked about it as a structure that's accessible. We talked about how proportional it is. And we also talked about how buildable it is along a full-time career. And if you missed any parts of that conversation, I encourage you to go back and watch the replay of this episode on my YouTube channel if you're just joining live. But here is where I want us to be after all of that discussion. The thing that is standing between where you are and a functioning second stream of income, it's not passion, it's not credentials, it's not time, and it's not a platform. It's clarity. That is the thing that's standing between you and this. It is clarity on what you're offering, clarity on who you're offering it to, clarity on how to communicate the value of what you know in a way that makes someone say, you know what? Yes, that is exactly what I need. You're missing the clarity on a process that creates results. You're missing clarity on how to price it, on how to structure it, and how to deliver it. Clarity is the gap right now. But clarity is what happens when you stop trying to figure all this out by yourself and you start working inside of a framework that's already been built for exactly this. And this is the part where I want to tell you about Ignite. Ignite is my 12-week group coaching program specifically designed for professional women who are ready to build, who are ready to build a skills-based stream of income. And coaching is one of the primary vehicles that we build it through. So this isn't a course that you're going to watch videos and hope that something sticks. Ignite is built around my proprietary framework that I developed specifically for this process. It's called the safety method. And every phase, it has a purpose. And every phase is sequential. It's a sequence, and every phase it builds on the last phase. And you don't go through it alone. You go through it with a group of women who are in the exact same stage that you're in. We are talking about women who have spent years being excellent at their jobs, and now they're ready for those jobs to be one option for them instead of the only option for them. So the next cycle kicks off on September 14th, and enrollment is open right now. So I've said this before on this platform, and I'm going to continue to say it. I keep the enrollment numbers small because the work that we do inside of this program, it is specific to you. And smaller groups, they get more of what matters most for me. They get more attention, they get more feedback, and they get more accountability. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, you know what? Coaching might be the thing. I want you to trust that feeling. And I don't want you to trust it because of passion. I want you to trust it because you have spent enough time spinning your wheels. You spent enough time circling this to know that the only thing that changes is when you make the decision that it's going to change, okay? So you can get all the details about Ignite on my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. You can comment the word Ignite down in the comments and I will send the link to you directly. You can also click the link down in the description box, okay? Again, the next cycle, it kicks off on September 14th, and I hope to see your face in the place because I think there's a belief underneath all of this that I haven't quite talked about yet. And it's this. Most women don't think of themselves as business people. particularly most women who have built careers. They don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs. They think of themselves as employees who are very good at what they do. And that's not wrong, it's accurate, but it is also incomplete. Because what that leaves out is that every skill that you've built, every result that you've driven, every problem that you've solved, all of that, all of it is an asset. Are an asset, is an asset. And here's the thing, the same thing that I talked about equity earlier in this conversation. And if you missed the equity conversation and you're just joining live, I encourage you to watch the replay on my YouTube channel. But assets also generate returns. And the person who owns your company, they have always known this. They structured your entire compensation around the returns that your asset generates for their company. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how valuable your skills are. The only thing that's missing from that equation is you collecting that return directly to you. And that right there is what a second stream of income is. That right there is what a coaching business is. That right there is what we build inside of Ignite. This is not a side hustle. This is not a hobby. This is not a backup plan for women who couldn't make it in whatever space. This is what happens when a high achieving woman decides that her skills have value beyond a single employer. And this is what happens when you start to build the infrastructure to prove it. Now, I want to talk about what options feel like, because I kind of touched on it earlier, but I feel like it just deserves for me to go a little bit deeper before I sign off on this one, okay? So just stick around if you're still here. Because the options piece, I think, is where the vision lives. So here's what options look like. Options feel like declining a Sunday meeting without dreading Monday. Options feel like a layoff announcement. When you hear it, it's more of an inconvenience rather than that layoff being devastating for you. Options feel like choosing your next role because you want it, not because you need it. Options feel like a financial decision that you make from abundance instead of carefully rationing what one paycheck allows you to have and do and be. I'm talking about financial decisions like vacations, financial decisions like buying your first home or your next home, or investing in real estate. I'm talking about financial decisions like making a transition, whether that's a personal or a professional transition, a gift. Look, that's what we're building toward. This isn't just about income. This isn't just about the money. And I say it all the time. We don't minimize the money. We don't dismiss the money, because I like money and I hope you do too. We need money. I love my lifestyle, right? So it's not just about the money. As important as it is, it's that right there is just the surface. We like to go deeper. This is about options. And you cannot just go find options. You have to build options. You have to create options. You don't get to just stumble and trip your way into financial sovereignty. You don't get to be passionate and find your passion your way into it. Like, you literally build it. You build income diversity. You build it deliberately, you build it strategically, and you do this with the right framework and the right support, and you do this with exactly what you already know. And I want to say something else before we close, and I really, really want you to hear this. You have been valuable the whole time. The whole time. Every year that you spend inside your career, you have been generating real market value that you have demonstrated. You have been learning, you have been growing, you have been solving, you have been leading, you have been building, and you have been generating real market value. The only question is who's been cashing in on that value. And I want to help you change that. And Ignite is how we start. Ignite is how we start. The next cycle starts on September 14th. We're going to have a small group. You're going to get access to the full safety method. You are going to get real results. So if you haven't already, head over to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite, or you can drop the word Ignite down in the comments, or you can click the link in the description. Spots for my cycles are always going to be limited because the work that we do is very specific. And I would love for you to be in the room. You don't need another passion project. What you need is another stream of income. And you already have everything that it takes to build one. So the question is whether or not you're going to decide that today. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Thanks so much for popping in and out of this conversation. Your presence, I see it. I recognize it. I appreciate it. I see the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If anything in this conversation resonated with you, I want to hear about it in the comments. What is your biggest takeaway from this conversation? Tell me the moment that clicked for you. Tell me the thing that you're rethinking. Tell me where you are in this process. Because this community right here, this is one of my favorite things about this channel. And I read every single thing that y'all write. So if you found this valuable, and I hope that you did, I want you to share the link to this video or any of my videos with a woman in your life who is circling, who is considering, who is thinking about this question right now. Because she's probably somebody you already know. And sometimes all it takes is one video that says the quiet part, that people have been thinking about, that says that thing out loud. Sometimes all it takes is one video to shift everything for them, okay? So I will see y'all in the next one. And if you are ready to stop thinking about it and you're ready to start building, the enrollment for Ignite is open. You can head over to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. I want you to come build with us. Come build with us. Let me help you build this thing, okay? My name is Nick Scott. This has been another episode of Nick at Noon. If you haven't already, I want you to hit the subscribe button and turn your bell notifications on so you do not miss a beat. Thanks so much for joining. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Mountain Time, and I will see you on the next one. Okay? Bye.